Well, welcome again, viewers. Dr. J.W. Morrison, theologist, New South Wales, Australia. Psychologists help people with themselves and other people, and theologists help people with themselves and God. We're going to look at the Watchtower Study Edition for November 2019. We're doing the article, Build Strong Friendships Before the End Comes. We'll look more at how the end's going to unfold later, but for now we're looking at the, could you say, psychology behind this article. Good friends work together in ministry. Not always. They can start out to be good friends and drift apart, but there are in many cases people who really grow strong bonds in ministry, be it for Jehovah Witnesses or not. The sad part for Jehovah Witnesses is they're running around telling people lies. And that would really, when you come to your senses, it really does severe damage to your mental health. I won't do a video on that right now or show you one, but we know that Jeremiah sent his scribe to do his dirty work. And then we looked at some examples on how do you feel when you're in the ministry and you hear your friend boldly defend his faith or speak with heartfelt conviction about Jehovah and his purposes. And you'll see an example of this here on this video here. But we want to get down to, and this, talk about shoot themselves in the foot. The Watchtower is notorious for really trying to fix things the wrong way. And they say, consider the two experiences that show how working in the ministry draws people together. Adeline, a 23-year-old sister, asked one of her friends, Candace. Now, as soon as they use the name Candace, you can guess what come to mind, can't you? Many of you don't know about Candace Conti, the ex-Jehovah Witness who was sexually molested for years and years by some Jehovah Witnesses. I've forgotten the story offhand, but I'll put some videos up of Candace, and there goes the Watchtower people running again. Away they go. They just like to run away. We'll see if we can find another one. Put some videos up. Here's another one. We'll jump up a bit this time. We'll go up here. There. But Candace Conti sued the Watchtower, and it cost them millions and millions and millions and millions of dollars. But she asked a friend, Adeline, asked Candace to go and preach in seldom worked territory, which I don't know if that's a good idea or not. We wanted to be more motivated and enjoy the ministry more, she says. Now again, this is manipulative. We both needed a spiritual boost. Not sure how standing at the carts gives anyone a spiritual boost, but anyway. How did they benefit from working together? At the end of each day, says Adeline, we discussed how we felt. Now, I would have liked to have been a fly on the wall for that. What touched us about the conversations we had? Oh my gosh. And how we sensed Jehovah's direction in our ministry. Now, interestingly, coming up next, they got focusing on forgiving, but there is, I'm sure in this, it's not in this one, but there's a part about the Holy Spirit in one of these articles, which would be interesting. They should put that in here, how the Holy Spirit helps. But anyway, we both enjoyed these deep discussions and got to know each other even better, which is normal, isn't it? Layla and Marion, two single sisters from France, went preaching for 5 weeks in Bangui. And if you're not sure where Bangui is, it is a leave or die part of Central Africa. Leave or die. Now, I don't know why the Watchtower would be encouraging anybody to go to Central Africa. It's one of the most dangerous places in the world, and I just don't understand what they think they're going to benefit, or what these people are going to benefit. They're destroyed. It's a leave or die zone. It just leaves me speechless, honestly, it really does. Well, their friendship grew stronger, I bet it did. As I observed Marion's flexibility, her love for the local people and her zeal in the ministry, My admiration for her increased. I think admiration's a better word than affection, isn't it? You do not have to move to a foreign country to enjoy these benefits. Each time you work in your local territory with a brother or sister, you have the opportunity to get to know that one better and to strengthen your bond of friendship. So they say. So I think the part that come out here is Candace, and we'll look at some videos on Candace Conti, and we'll see where we go from there. But our next part's going to be focus on the positive and be forgiving.
Okay.
Are you going to edit this?
This is literally just going to go straight from iPhone to
Roger,
online.
you're not in it.
I'm right there.
Yeah.
Really? I'm more in
See,
it.
watch. Hi.
Hi.
Hey, brothers and sisters. This is Cameron, and I'm here with the lovely Karen Bentley and Roger Bentley. What did we end up? What happened this weekend?
We had the Apostafest. We love
2019.
it. Everybody's normal. Nobody's, well, we are kind of crazy, but it's normal people. You fall in love. You actually have such a great time. It's great group therapy.
I think that was like my first time when I came. I was like, oh my God, there's all these people are just like me, and they have the similar like terminology and the stories, and they understand the language of where we came from. But how did you guys hear about Apostafest? Because you were going before I did.
I think we were reading a blog, JW Net, and Flipper, that's his, how he relates, and he would invite people to Tahoe. So that's how we first heard about it, was on the JW Net. And so we came up and tried it out the first year.
And the first year we came, we said, okay, if these people are weird, let's just say, oh, I'm so tired, or I need to go to work, or we have a reservation and we got to go, because we didn't know what to expect.
You had to have a backup plan in case
We had
these
a
people are
backup
weird.
plan.
Yeah.
We have an evacuation
An
plan.
escape plan, exactly. Yeah.
It's funny, and then it ended up being
Awesome. We met some of the best people, made some of the best friends, even though they won't say my name right.
That's how we met, actually, was because of the Apostafest, yeah.
Right.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I met Cameron at the Apostafest.
Yeah, I was also worried.
Oh, yeah. Did you have an escape plan?
Right.
Yeah, I was like, oh, I have to work tomorrow. I better get going. But I didn't need that excuse because it ended up being, like you said, really cool people.
Well, we've made some friends, and very good people, very nice people, shared common experience. Validating is a good word. But I think we have lifelong friends as a result of coming here. And you're one of them, buddy.
Yeah, we're family now. Like, You can't get rid of me now.
That's
Good,
right.
bad, or worse.
That's right. That's right.
I was really thankful to meet you guys, because when I met you, and I was really impressed with your story, which I want to talk about briefly, because there's so many new YouTubers, and more people are on Reddit now. There's all these new flood of people that are waking up. They may not be familiar with the stories, and I want to briefly touch about that. But I was really excited when I met you guys and heard about what you were doing. I was like, oh my God, you have to meet so-and-so, our incognito contact that's helping us with the Bill SB360. And if it's your first time hearing about it, it's our first go around at really putting a fist up in the air to all cults of hiding child abuse. We found out the clauses they were using, clergy penitent privilege, of hiding either a victim coming forward, or in the rare case of an abuser coming forward and saying, hey, I did this, that you can't, because they're mandated reporters, you can't keep hiding this under clergy penitent privilege. You just need to do the right thing and report it and provide resources and help people instead of victimize them. So that's kind of how it all started, was through just meetups. And I think we all wanted to do more.
Well, we had a experience with a child abuse case. We got heavily involved in that. But then there was the Australian Royal Commission, and part of their recommendation was to eliminate what's known as clergy penitent privilege. Just completely get rid of it, which would mean there would be no legal basis for clergy to cover up child sex abuse. So our whole cause was very heavily influenced by the amount of money and time that the Australian government saw fit to put into this issue. And what's nice about the Australian Royal Commission is the amount of literature, academic papers, and as in our point of view, the good that can come from the Australian Royal Commission hasn't been realized yet. People still need to get familiar with what they did, how they approached it. And even in Australia, they've taken a study and they're trying to implement it legally. Well, here in California and hopefully across the country, we're going to try to do the same thing. And if you go to our website, scars.org, you'll see that we use a lot of the academic papers and the thoughts that have been generated not only by the Australian Royal Commission, but other academics and other people who've been looking into this problem. And you'll see that it's not one religion, it's not one corporation, it's a cultural change that has to take place. But we're so grateful that we find so many other people from all these varieties of approach, that they're all working on the same goal to protect children, to create a public, safe environment. And so we're very encouraged. We met a lot of human beings at the Capitol, people that are passionate just like us, their family members, and we couldn't be more optimistic about the outcome of this. We really feel the momentum is going to continue to grow as we go forward, publicizing what's been happening with child abuse victims.
Yeah, because we're primarily it. We're the media company talking about this from step A to Z. Now, the case that you had mentioned, some of my followers may not be familiar with, because you've briefly been on my channel a few times with what happened to you guys. I was blown away by your story when I first met you. Can we briefly talk about that? Like, where you were both, your background and then leading up to that case.
Okay, well, one thing we like about talking to legislators and the public is that we like to refer them to places they can go to do further research. And fortunately, Reveal News, Trey Bundy did extensive reporting on Jehovah's Witnesses and how they were hiding child sex abuse. So what happened, you can go to that website, look out at how the Watchtower, what Trey featured, and you can read in detail all about this. But basically, the Jonathan Kendrick, the person that was sued by Candace Connie, before all that trial started, Jonathan Kendrick moved from Fremont, maybe went to another congregation or two, but he ended up in Oakley. And then despite us having contacted Fremont, we weren't warned about Jonathan's background. In fact, the letter said that he was good with children, and I'm actually reading that letter on the PBS special. So,
and you were the elder at Oakley.
Oh, I was the elder that was very much involved with Jonathan in many aspects. And so in the circumstances when I began to read the trial transcripts from the Candace Connie case, I realized that my history and what I knew had taken place was not being presented accurately in that trial. So the family of the victim in our congregation, her parents, and how that all turned out, they started a lawsuit. Now that lawsuit didn't get past summary judgment because the abuse didn't take place in conjunction with a theocratic activity or a church-sponsored activity. So the case was dismissed, but we've still been trying to publicize the flawed policy, the child abuse policy of Jehovah's Witnesses, and it's blossomed into all institutions. And again, that's where the Australian Royal Commission was so valuable, because they studied, I think it was 59 institutions and scholars and all blossomed into all institutions. And again, that's where the Australian Royal Commission was so valuable, because they studied, I think it was 59 institutions and scholars, and all their work came out with some very specific recommendations. So we feel that it's an international problem, and the people working to solve it are international. So we think that this cause is just going to continue to grow as these different groups, these different independent groups come together and say, oh, well, we're working on that too. It's similar. And that's kind of like how we met and how we ended up working with CCLA. Because Cameron came to the Apostafest, and he came with Cliff the Fifth. And Cliff
Who's from our area. We knew him growing up.
Isn't that crazy?
It was so interesting. So we were comparing notes. Cliff had remembered me giving talks as an elder, and then he introduced us to Cameron, and we're going to the Capitol to lobby for a clergy penitent bill to limit it or to completely eliminate it. And Cameron says he's working with a similar group. In fact, his group has more experience lobbying than we did. We only did it for 1 year, and your group was 6 years already?
6 or 7.
Six or 7 years, so it's like match made in heaven, right?
Yeah.
The universe had said, you guys need to get together. And it really was a good thing that we did, because we've learned quite a bit from the experience of the paralegals and lobbyists, and what else can we say good about CCLA and all the hard work that they've been doing?
Well, I mean, all of them are law students now, so like we've got ex-Mormons, ex-JWs that are law students they know what it feels like. So that combined experience and passion of just trying to do the right thing, I think, is really shining.
Yeah, and like any individuals, we find that people have so much passion about that at times they really disagree with how this should happen. But out of those disagreements, because there is a strong motivation to end child sex abuse, those different opinions and different approaches are always, we got past them, and we come back stronger, because we find out that no matter what the difference of opinion is, the unity in trying to get this issue settled always comes through, and we go forward. So we're very happy to be working on next season, but also one of our big projects now is to get the media to present the child sex abuse survivor's point of view. It's not about feeling sorry for a priest that's getting caught up between God and the state. That's really a misdirection, in my opinion. It's really about the churches have First Amendment rights, but what about the rights of the child abuse victims? And what about the public safety? And we're finding human beings at the Capitol, contrary to the way we were taught in our insular institution, that they were being ruled by Satan. We found that not to be true. And we found out that they have families and sons and daughters, husbands, wives, and they're very interested in protecting the public. And that's why we had 35 out of 40 senators vote in favor of SB 360, which the media should be covering. Mm-hmm. So we're going to try to get that word out, and then we're going to find out where we were weak and shore that up, get more people to join us, and come back next season very strong.
Yeah, it's a long-term game that we're playing. Because I know when we first started doing it, everyone was like, well, how long is it going to take? Like, when's it going to go past written into law? What's going to happen next? And we're looking at it like we're all super passionate about this. Is a long-term game. We're in it because this bill is like a gateway bill.
Well, I was told by people with experience, I'm talking about really good experience. I'm not going to say who they were, but we'll just say they're professionals. And they said a bill like this would take years. And they said that it would be common to hire a lobbyist for $280,000 that might not even produce a draft bill. Well, when we were able to get a draft bill the very first year, it was phenomenal. And so we saw that support, we saw that passion, but we also start to realize who's a powerful lobby group in California. And we realized the Catholic Church is a very organized lobby group, and they organize and they tell the legislators that they better not vote for SB 360 or they won't be voted for. So there's a lot of strategy and there's a lot of power, and it's back and forth. But overall, with all of those things being said, you could say that SB 360 and the cause is years ahead. Who would have thought that in 2 years of effort we would have passed the Senate 35-5? And that's what people need to know, to be encouraged, that means that there are people just as passionate about protecting children as we are.
Yeah. I know you want to. Yeah, let's get Karen in here too, because you've been here since day one.
Yeah. I want to say this too, that if you lived in 1848 when there was slavery, there were churches that supported slavery. There were people against it. The church might have said, you better be for slavery. And think about how long it took to change that. Culture takes a long time to change, but it does change, but it takes work. And we're glad it changed. We're glad there's not slavery, even though it's incremental. So that's why we're not giving up. We know it takes time. And we're becoming a part of history. Just like we don't like slavery, we don't like child abuse. And we love seeing the change. We love seeing people realize what it does to children, how traumatic it is. It affects their lives forever. breaks down our society, our families, and just like our Attorney General,
Surgeon General.
Our Surgeon General,
Nadine
Burke Harris. We love her. She is on the right track, looking to our children, protecting our future, helping them out, and changing people's minds. If we had everybody saying, let's protect our kids, it's worth it. We love them. We want our kids to come to us and tell us. That would change. We wouldn't need laws, because everybody would be telling their senators and assemblymen. It didn't matter what their clergymen told them. They'd say, you know what, we want our kids protected first. And that's what we want to do. We want to get everybody excited and on board, changing history, changing lives, making the future.
Yeah. I think that's something we definitely noticed in the last, especially last week, but over the last several months, is that how, like on your point again, is the Catholic Church is an extremely powerful group.
Yes.
They were one of the first ones to oppose us for the bill when we had went to the hearing, and they've been ruthless in lying to their own members, and just saying that we're attacking religious freedom and confession when that's not the case. We're trying to get them to stop covering up child abuse.
Well, one thing I wanted to point out is that I think we're being very successful because we're doing this with giving people dignity, giving them respect. We're not going in and expecting the worst. We go in expecting the best. And I have not been disappointed at any time with the dignity and the respect and the logical discussions that have been taking place. And I think if we as a whole community continue to show dignity and understanding to one another, the importance of this issue will prevail. Because who does not want to protect the most innocent among us? Who does not want to enact a law that will do the most good to protect children, stop a cycle? It'll prevent child abuse because the abuser will be stopped and identified, and it will start the healing of the abuse survivors themselves. So we really don't need to be upset, frustrated. We just need to continue to show respect to people. When we're given the opportunity to present our side of the story, we just try very hard to articulate it. And that approach has really brought about fantastic results. And so we highly recommend it. That you give people dignity and you show them respect, most of the time they're going to do the same to you.
Most of the time, yeah. And I think it's built, with all the work that we're doing, it's built a lot of, even people who have no idea what's going on. People are wanting to get involved.
Yes.
Which is really exciting.
People don't realize that in California, the clergy are already mandated reporters.
Right.
Even some senators go like, why do you need to change it? Because they're already mandated reporters. They didn't realize that when people took religions to court, that is when they claimed clergy penitent privilege so that certain documents wouldn't be presented. So, dang,
I got a point to add to that. What we're trying to point out on our website is that we now have many California judges who have actually ruled to limit clergy penitent privilege. So the idea is we feel the Constitution is on our side. We feel that the judiciary in California is on our side. So let's just get this together. Let's stop these decades-long arguments. You know, we go back to the movie Spotlight, the investigative reporters in the Boston Globe, and the exposure that came out back then. What has happened to enacting those laws and actually doing something about what those investigative reporters were able to successfully expose? And since that time, we've had grand jury reports after grand jury reports to say that the problem exists, and legislators can do something about it by adjusting or enacting laws similar to what SB 360 is going to do. And since the courts are agreeing with it, the results are positive all around the world. They're coming to the same conclusion. We can at least limit that clergy penitent privilege so that exponentially child abuse is reported. It's a huge benefit to the whole community to stop child abuse and to heal those that were victims of that crime.
Yeah. That's what we're doing.
That's what we're doing.
We're doing it. And we're actually, you're right, we're going along a lot quicker than I thought. Because even with like the CCLA, I consulted with them when we first started, and I was like, oh yeah, we look at the progress we've made, and they're like, and that's fast.
It
That's
is
really fast.
Well, they just told me the other day, one of the paralegals, he was really surprised that the bill got the traction it did. And, we have to say we're kind of unprepared as a small group to continue to go forward. And the more success we have, the more organizing, the more work we have to do. But that's all this is. The public and other people need to join and get into what we're doing. And with a large community of people writing their senators, sending emails, saying they support this bill, we can at least balance what the Catholic Church does with their lobby movement and their 140,000 emails that they delivered to the Capitol.
Yeah,
see, we have
last week.
we have to match that, and hopefully we have to surpass that. But we're at the stage where we really need the public to come on board and weigh in on this issue.
Yeah. And we are the mouthpiece right now. We're like, hey,
we need a little more than this, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Let's get the word out.
Do you want to join us?
Yeah.
Are you a teachers association? Are you a child association? Someone that helps children in any way? If we band together and talk about it, if you have followers, we have followers, and become a giant group and educate people. Who doesn't want to help children? Why don't the churches want to prevent this so much? If they said, we want to protect children, that's what churches are supposed to do. Be good things, be motivating things. Reporting an abuser stops them from abusing again. Keeping it secret does not even help the abuser. They won't change. So think about the kids, report it. Tell your kids to report it. Be happy when they report it. Congratulate them. And work for educating the public that it needs to happen.
And if you're interested in the deeper subject, on SCAR's website, on the legislation page and throughout it, it refers to academic papers, and it's very interesting that there is a institutional cultural response to child abuse. And what these experts and psychologists and all that money spent in Australia, corporations, institutions will try to protect their image over protecting child abuse survivors.
Every time.
And it's a cultural response, and that's why it's even beyond laws. And you say, what are you talking about? Well, how about a common term that was maybe extreme at the time, but it talked about the rape culture. It talked about when a woman would be blamed for the kind of clothes that she was wearing, or was she flirting. And that's part of stigmatizing the person who was reporting the crime. And in the institution we came from, the way that was accomplished was when a child abuse survivor was thinking about reporting to the police, a line would come up, or a statement: you don't want to bring reproach on Jehovah's name.
Yeah.
So
You
that
wanna
is
make God look bad.
And the translation of that is that's protecting the image of the institution above stopping that crime, having the abuser dealt with by the authorities, letting that abuser heal properly. And it's all there, folks. It's laid out. It's black and white. It's SCARS is simply repeating and publicizing what many people have been doing for years. And SNAP is an organization along those lines. And so what we need to do is come together as a community. We need to unite. We need to find these solutions, and we need to support the legislators, give them the political clout to say, my constituents want this law passed. That's exactly what we need.
Yeah, absolutely. So we can find out more on scars.net. It's SCAA.
.org.
.org. Okay,
Yeah.
I'll have the link below. The California Civil Liberties Advocacy is I think that's .net. I'll leave the link down there too. But also leaving a comment down below and saying if there's anything that you can do, or on Instagram or Facebook, wherever you're watching this, let us know, because moving this is an opportunity in history for all of us. I mean, we're primarily ex-Jehovah's Witnesses, but this affects Mormons, Scientologists, any cult-like religion. that
any religion,
Any religion.
whatever, any organization,
Any institution.
any
Yeah.
institution,
business,
And-
everything.
And we want Senator Hill's words to, the bill wasn't pulled, it's simply on pause. So we're going to go back late October, early September, and we're going to start exactly what we've done for the last 2 years. We're going to work with Senator Hill. We're going to support that bill. And we just really hope that we can come back with hundreds of thousands of people weighing in saying, yes, I support SB 360.
Yeah.
And I want to say thank you, Senator Hill, for presenting this bill. It is awesome. We thank you for your support of children. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Senator Hill. We'll have links down below to everything. Any comments or questions, let us know. And then we're hoping to see you at many more meetups, and then especially at the Capitol, lobbying in person. And if you can't make it, if you're across the country, emails, letters, we have templates that are done for you. You can just copy and cut and paste your own information in there to make it easy. But we're all available for questions too. So links to everything down below. And if you want to have any other ideas of how you can get involved, just ask us. We're here.
Thanks,
All right,
Cameron.
we're gonna do this together. Thank you. Oh my God, thanks these guys. We're making history.
That's right. That's good.
Cool. We'll see you soon, brothers and sisters.